Bros Before Shows. Hey everyone, welcome back to Bros Before Shows. I'm Scotty.
I'm Will.
And we are with our guest, Mr.
Keith Wall.
And Davison Wall.
And are you guys related?
Yes.
That's what the blood test says.
Oh, okay. Father and son. And what's your company name?
We're the Brick Wall.
And what do you guys sell? Or...
We sell, we do it for fun. We don't do it as a business. We sell toys, comics, collectibles, fun stuff we all threw away or mom threw away or always wanted and never had.
Grandma kept.
Grandma kept?
Grandma kept it.
In the attic?
Yes.
Yeah.
For 30 years.
Mom's trash can and grandma's attic.
Yeah. And that's one of the where we actually met you guys. I think the first time was at like a Mom's Trash Can show.
I think it was STCC.
Oh, was it STCC?
Yeah,
I believe it was.
I met him at St. Tammany.
St. Tammany, yes.
Which is also a great show. You guys should check it out. And you guys are collectors too. Like you have your own like personal inventory that you keep, you don't sell. Like what's some of the lines that you collect?
I'm a big Star Wars fan. Vintage Star Wars. My favorite is carded vintage. I also collect lunchboxes and strange stuff. I like things that are comic
Unique.
books.
Yeah.
I have quite a few copies of the Pope comic book. Somewhere about 10 copies of the Pope, about 7 copies of Mother Teresa, and about 6 or 7 copies of St. Francis. I figure that's the only way I'm going to heaven is by.
Oh wow.
And I have the Bible Treasury DC edition.
That's great.
But I also like the oddball stuff, giant size Man Thing comics.
Okay.
I have they only made 5 issues. I have the largest giant size Man Thing collection.
Oh, that's awesome.
I have about 45, 47 copies of the 5 books.
Wow.
And what about you, Davison? Like, what do you collect? Like, what's your go-to thing?
One of the big things I collect is Kenner Mask. It's a combination, kind of Power Rangers, Transformers. That's one of the big things I collect.
Yeah, those are those like little figures, like.
Yes. Shorter than Star Wars and G.I. Joe.
Harder to keep up.
Harder to keep up. I've lost so many of those guys.
They're not much smaller, but that's what ticked a lot of kids off my age when they came out was they didn't fit in the G.I. Joe figure, the vehicles, they were different scale.
Yeah.
And that kind of didn't jive.
Well, they're
great line.
Their accessories, the mask, those are like always hard to like.
Plus, it was the first iteration or run of them where there were the show accurate ones called the short mask, which they later then, because many of them were choking hazards, they resized them to be larger. And
they were larger and they put holes in them. So if they did get lodged, there was airways for the kids to breathe around.
Wow.
So the most expensive and desired one is a tiny little one. It looks like a little VR helmet for Honda McLean, who does the orange truck.
Wow.
And that's about $100 because it is so tiny.
it's like half
Versus the regular version is $5 something.
It's like half the size of a figurehead for the mask.
What else do you collect?
I also collect a lot of Marvel Legends.
Yeah.
I have a very, very large quantity from Build-A-Figures, some exclusive figures, and even a HasLab Sentinel.
The Sentinel.
Yes.
Nice.
The thing is
Saved up for him.
massive.
Saved up by himself. 16-year-old at the time.
Like a miniature giant.
That thing is big.
Oh, I love the X-Men. I love like Sentinels. Those are awesome.
So, I always ask everybody the same question. Both of you. What is the very first toy that you remember playing with as a kid?
Okay, good.
I don't exactly know the name of it, but this was in Pensacola, Florida. This was the first time we ever went to Pensacola, Florida, and there was this nice man. His name's Marty.
Mr. Marty has kind of been a mentor to us in the collecting, but particularly in the selling and dealing aspect.
Yeah. Awesome.
A lot of folks have actually in that area that came over. He's been a mentor of how to do this. It's really great.
So through him, you have a memory of toys.
the first, he gave me a free, it's almost a Transformer, but it's a kind of gray, almost Transformer. It's just one of the first real, like, collecting toys that I had.
Do you still have it?
Yes. It's presently on my desk.
Impressive. How about you, Keith?
I would probably say it's going to come down to one of two things. The $6 Million Man that my mom got for me from the thrift store in Amish country in Maryland, where I grew up. There was very few. It was a small. It was like 50 people lived there.
Wow.
It was very small, but it was a little thrift store. My mom got me $6 Million Man. It didn't have much to him. And the other thing I really remember early is the wind-up Evel Knievel. I think I got that for my 4th, maybe 5th birthday, and we're winding it up.
The
So then,
commercial to that's so cool.
Much as like what we do is we go back. It's, we want to be kids at heart. We go back and get the stuff we had and the stuff we always wanted. Well, back in the I guess mid-20s, give or take, they I think it was Playing Mantis. They re-released it, and we'd bring that out. We'd bring that out at parties. We'd be drinking and hollering and all that. And 3 o'clock in the morning, winding up that Evel Knievel, making jumps. And we were 20, 23, 27-year-olds, and we were making jumps and playing that Evel Knievel. It was like, it was just like a kid, except we were drunk.
Adults.
Somewhat.
Don't judge us.
Oh, there's a lot of judging.
And like, you know, most of these toy lines had a cartoon show so back then. So what would be your favorite cartoon to watch? It could be the 70s, it could be the 80s, 90s.
I have a very short attention span, so trying to remember everything.
You want me to
But
sit in
I
front
would.
of the TV?
I liked Thundarr a lot because it was kind of like it was He-Man, Conan, and Star Wars all crammed into one. But I couldn't remember much past of it now. But Transformers, obviously, we all love it. Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends was one of my favorites at the time. Less cartoon. I grew up in the Lou Ferrigno, Incredible Hulk.
Davison, how about you, man? What was your
The main Morphin Power Rangers cartoon.
Not a cartoon. Oh, not a cartoon.
Still,
Well,
like,
I mean, it had its day.
It's a franchise.
Then-
per se.
I'd say the Super Friends.
Super
Yeah,
Friends?
from my day, the Super Friends. And then we one of the shows we went to, I got him into watching Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, which was huge in my time. And
Love that show.
we met most of the cast and got the cast signed.
Oh, that's awesome.
photos.
So what got you guys back into collecting from childhood into adulthood?
I was back in my day. I'm sounding old. Back in my day in the '80s, it was all dudes. I mean, for shows, I know that, but there was no females. There was all nerds, and that was back when nerds wasn't a popular coin term per se. And it was usually skinny, dinky dudes like me or fat, smelly dudes. And all through high school, collected comics. I got into drawing, and I went to collect a lot of stuff, but mostly it was just comics. And I went to college for art, and went to college in New York to get into doing comic professionally, and painting and whatnot. And I don't really do much artwork. He's now picking up and doing a lot more drawing now, which is great. But at that time, I met a lot of, again, living in New York and growing up in Maryland, going to New York a lot. So I met and knew a lot of the comic artists and so forth. And so that was really kind of cool. And then I got some toys, and started getting into this. I was always into Star Wars. That never actually got out. And then the mid-'90s, I got married. And we sold a bunch of stuff to kind of get ourselves and our lives started, to get our first apartment and whatnot. And then so we still had a bunch of stuff, and I kept it for years. And a bunch of stuff, meaning about 5, 6 long boxes of comics, and it was a room. The friends always came over when we were at parties, and they called it the museum. But it was some decent stuff, but it wasn't phenomenal stuff. It was some cool stuff. And then about 6 years, almost 6 years ago now, we'd take him to comic book conventions. He met Stan Lee when Davison was dressed as Dr. Doom, which is a great picture. Stan's like, that's really cool. And he's about 7 years old. It's a great picture. It was a happy moment. That was the second time I met Stan. And so we started taking him to conventions, And then about 7 years ago, we met Ben from STCC, and they're like, "Hey, we're talking about putting on a show." And we actually met Ben and Sarah at a really rinky-dink card show
At a
trading
Ramada Inn,
yes,
if I remember
in
correctly.
Bettery. And that's where we met a couple other people as well. But it never really worked. They had a couple toy vendors, but it was mostly just baseball cards, and nobody showed up. So Ben said, "Hey, we're putting on a show, and you said you have some stuff." I'm like, "All right, well, you know what?" He was, I think Davison was maybe 11 at the time, give or take, 10, 11. I said, "Well, let's get rid of my crap, empty out the one room so we could make it an official office or a guest room or whatever it was at the time, and teach him business and put him on this side of the table." And it just went to hell from there, because we're like, well, this was kind of fun. And then we kind of bought a couple things, and a lady came up, "Oh, I got some comics." I'm like, "Oh, that's a problem."
It's like a chain thing.
And then we
Yeah,
started
right.
like selling. I'm like, "All right, well, that was fun. All right, well, that was fun." Then we started getting more, and then we started to get more, and then we started to get. So it was actually sort of the selling and the vending that got us back into collecting. So now it's snowballed to where we've got a huge. Both of us have a huge collection, the whole house most of the time, but we kind of got into vending first, sort of, and then like got back into the passion of collecting, and now it's like a lot of times we'll buy a collection from somebody, a childhood collection, whatever, and we'll piece stuff. It's like, "Oh, I kind of want that," and he'll eye up the good stuff. And we have a running joke. Can I tell the joke?
Okay.
I'm getting the stink eye. The running joke we always have is, if we want to know the 3 most expensive items in a lot, Davison, what do you like the most? What do you want? This one, and this one. Those are the 3 most expensive in the lot. Almost every time it's a joke.
Awesome.
But he gives me the stink eye when we
He's
make
got a
that
good
joke.
eye.
See?
So we even got, again, Ben and Sarah, he makes that joke. He's like, "Oh, yeah, I got a lot. Sarah's angry at me because I pulled a Davison. And I want this
running
book, this
joke.
book, and this book." So, and it's just the passion flew from there. We just love toys and comics, and we love interacting, and we kind of, everybody knows this is a
It's
duo
a huge
now.
family.
Yeah.
So,
And you guys obviously love the hunt,
We
the
love it.
journey, the
Like,
search.
Every lot's networking, building connections,
Right.
kind of a almost chain effect.
I mean, I'm getting toys that comics I never ever thought I'd own. I've got first cameo Wolverine. I've got a Kenner Alien. I've got a Godzilla we were talking about at dinner. I've got a box stuff. It's stuff I never thought I would really enjoy.
That's amazing.
And it just snowballed. And it was a really bizarre snowball.
And you guys
The
get
wife
to do
doesn't
it
always
together.
think it's great. and
Yeah.
we do it
That's the
together.
cool part.
So, and it sometimes feels weird when I go out and look at a lot. I have to get there right after work, whatnot, and I don't have my partner in crime with me. I'll tell him my son would be here if he could. But,
Well, we're glad to have you. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
sharing
Now
your
you're at
story.
our show, the South
Yeah.
Pacific Toy Fest.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Have fun.
You guys always bring like the goods. It's always a joy to see, just to dig what to find in your bins.
well, that's kind of how we try to set up our booth and set up stuff, is to try to make it look like Toys R Us
Yeah.
rack of stuff. Just dig in, and it's what we had fun
Yeah.
as a kid. Just digging and stuff. I'm gonna find something good in here.
Oh yeah.
So.
I've never been disappointed walking through the booth. Broke maybe, but not
Yeah.
disappointed.
Yeah, a lot of times what we have now, I think you guys saw it last time, we have Toys R Us name tags
Yes.
with our
That's
name on it,
awesome.
just to kind of
Very
push
cool.
that joke even a little further.
Keeping it alive.
Yeah.
We all have a Toys R Us memory. And my brother Mark worked at Toys R Us, so how cool
I've
was
always
that?
wanted to work there, but I don't know. I guess I never.
Maybe one day we'll
they
buy
never
the
picked
name
me, or
and
I never.
back up.
I remember being in 10th grade, and we had a assignment to study the stock market. What stock would you pick? I picked Toys R Us to study. And my mom's like,
It's
yeah,
all- well,
either
it
there's
go-
something really wrong or really right, you know.
Well, it goes up at Christmas.
That's it.
Well, not anymore. Yeah.
Unless you're in Canada.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
they
there is
did
one.
open stores in Canada.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Physical
I
stores.
think,
you
road
can go
trip,
to.
guys.
Well, yeah, right.
Road
That's
trip.
what I heard.
Guys night out.
What, 20,
That's what take you all night. to get
38-hour
there.
drive to Canada?
I
All
think
right.
they're closed, gentlemen.
We'll just fly and meet you there. So what's next for you guys? Do you have a? I mean, after our show, do you have like another? Like, do you do more shows, or you just doing only like 2 or 3 this year? Or?
We do many shows. We even have one actually coming up next weekend, and the following week after that.
What's that?
Next weekend we have a show in Augusta, Georgia. It's called Joe Fest.
That's a big
See you
one.
there.
Yeah.
We'll see
That's
you
a
there.
fun show.
First
That is a
timer.
really fun show. It's big.
Can't
Make
wait.
sure they got a lobby swap, which is just fun.
Yeah, I'm
It's
excited.
kind of chaos to a degree, but it's kind of fun. It's like, so you got some people selling stuff where they're out of their mind, like higher than vendor prices,
Right.
and someone where it's like just pennies on the dollar kind of thing.
Chinese
It's just
fish
fun.
market. You never know what you're gonna
It's
find.
weird, man.
Yeah.
It was a lot of
Just
fun.
Quote Forrest Gump.
Maybe.
That's my boat.
And are you guys on social media? Like, if people
We
reach
are.
out, like if they have collections they want to sell, or they want to.
But
We
you
are-
guys
we-
just got on to.
We just started Whatnot
Yeah.
a week and a half ago. We just did our third Whatnot last night. We did. It was all turtles last night.
Nice.
And the other night was one night was DC, and then the second was all He-Man. And kind of, it was fun. It's I'm not really good in front of a camera, which is very difficult for me. But it was we could really cut it up. All you're seeing is our hands and the toys. So,
Nice.
so we're cutting it up. And,
Puppeteering.
yes, it was fun. Even the wife was in the background, and somebody's like, I could hear everything y'all are saying. Like, good.
And this
We're just
Joker-
whispering going on, and of course we got to make 30 jokes. We were pushing that R rating close. We didn't quite cross the R, but we were doing a lot of PG-13 innuendos.
Like an old lady crossing the street.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of movies, like, what's y'all's favorite movie of all time?
Ooh, do you have a favorite?
Good one.
That is a very tough question.
Don't
Come back
Yeah.
to me.
Come back.
Okay.
That's a tough one. I've never been one where I could say my favorite blah blah blah. It's my favorite 3.
Kind of different
yes.
categories.
We'll take it.
We'll take top
Favorite
three.
Top three,
Okay,
top
top
three.
3.
Oh, Star Wars has got to be in there. Star Wars has got to be
The
in there.
original
me.
Empire, or Jedi?
Emperor,
Original.
yeah, all 3 of them.
I'd say as a cluster, but I would say the first one.
Okay.
I'd say the first one. A lot of people frown on Jedi, but I really like Jedi. I thought that the pacing on Jedi, the end, that the 3 scenes going on all at once with the John Williams score, that was phenomenal. That's a really underappreciated scene. They did have the murder bears, but that's the Muppets. But Star Wars, I'd say that was a life-changing movie for me. Which we just had the anniversary May 25th.
Mm-hmm.
Cinema Paradiso, which is an Italian movie, and Pulp Fiction, I think would probably be 3 probably near my favorites.
Davison?
Return of the Jedi, the original version, not the old.
That goes
later
without
edited.
saying, the special edition.
Oh,
The
Yeah.
original one. Noises off. It is a very, very funny movie. Christopher Reeves plays a really very funny
It's a
character.
weird. It's based on a Broadway play.
yeah.
And if you ever get a chance to
Familiar
check it out,
with
it's
it,
a
yeah.
it's a great, funny movie.
And we're about to run out of time, but any last words, any advice you want to tell to any fellow collectors, or
Not really.
I say collect find what you enjoy and stay with it. Don't worry about money. Don't worry about
Well,
investments.
within
per
reason,
se.
don't worry about money.
Well, a lot of people will say, I'm not a slab collector. A lot of people are slab collectors. And I've been in a couple comic book stores where, I'm a kid and I understand he's trying to get into it. He said, well, I just want a slab. Doesn't matter what slab. You're never ever possibly going to read it. You're not
Right.
enjoying it for what it,
yeah.
potentially enjoying it for what it is. So I don't, shame people who collect slabs, but it's not my cup of tea. And so with that, whatever it is you like, just go after that passion. Have that passion for it.
Absolutely.
Don't worry about how to make money on it. Don't worry about
Just
enjoy
collect.
what you do. Enjoy it.
All right.
So,
That's our guests for the evening, Mr. Keith Wall and Davis, the Brick Wall Check them out on their social media.
And we're on Facebook. We're on brickwall.com.
Come to them. See them at the
Brickwall
shows.
Toys.
Yeah. All right. Until next time, right?
See you next time.